Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther the Third, and tonight, Ringside crew, we have a treat for you. We have a gentleman that is doing some awesome things in the independent wrestling scene. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Kid Isaac. Welcome, brother.
Oh,
Welcome.
hey, that's me. Hey.
Awesome. So who trained you?
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of people that have had a hand on like bringing me up. So went to Santino Bros Wrestling Academy over in Bell Gardens, California, and so I've had Joey Chaos being one of my main trainers, Robbie Phoenix, Eli Everfly, and Tyler Bateman definitely was a coach for a while over there too. And there has been some classes where I've had Brody King definitely kind of leading up the class as well. He was always there just on the side to kind of help us out, coach us, and just basically kind of like drill us a bit too.
Awesome. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Other than that, I did also Brian Kendrick was also having his Brian Kendrick school wrestling school there too. And so one of those days I definitely just kind of jumped in on the days he was training and been a part of like just training with Brian since I started around the 2017, 2018. And how eventually that's what brought me to pro wrestling is where I started.
Ooh. So that's awesome. So out of all the people that have trained you, what advice have you taken the most from like putting into your like character, like your style?
Oh, it's I want to say definitely Kendrick. Brian has like basically really what when I first kind of started coming up with Kid Isaac, he was definitely the one that just gave me the ideas and kind of like had my brain just open up a little bit more about it on how to speak and how to act. At first it was just kind of just being real goofy like 80s style, like Jeff the Farmer was an example he just told me, and I kind of just thought, you know what, that he's onto something, and I just kind of ran with that. And ever since I kind of just started putting more and more layers with Kid Isaac from there. Definitely Brian was the one that kind of just like told me to just open up even your brain even more, just get creative and just kind of like explore a little more and just get weird. There's definitely more people that I've talked to too. Sim Bodie was one that just when I moved out here to Las Vegas to start training with Future Stars of Wrestling, Sim Bodie was definitely one that just like even opened up my brain a little more too on just tapping into that character. Other than that, like wrestling style, I've definitely like had a lot of advice will always come from like Joey Chaos. Uh, it's always there's always just some things he'll say that definitely would stick with me, and it'll stick with me till even just in the ring or outside the ring too.
Awesome. So let's go back.
Right.
When you first step your first feet in the practice facility, what were you thinking when you first sat down and you were there? Your first training.
I thought this is happening. I remember exactly the first day we all kneeled down, and it was like a big class too. It was like maybe about 20, 30 of us students coming into Santino Brothers, and we were all just kneeling down, just kind of Joey Chaos was there just to kind of just like talk to us and bring us in, like, welcome to your first day. And I remember just like, all right, let's get to work. And I just remember thinking like, all right, it's gonna be fun again. And we just started running, we started drilling. I think we learned rolls the first day, and I just remember thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like this is like what it means to be a wrestler.
Awesome.
I always feel definitely I can. I'm definitely better now on it. Where I remember always just feeling the anxiety as I'm approaching the wrestling school, even with like where I train now at Future Stars Wrestling. There's a little bit of a mental game uh, training to be a pro wrestler, regardless of experience. Like you're just walking in and you're just like, all right, it's like go time. You're prepping yourself for something.
Awesome. So, what were you thinking, or how did you get yourself through it for your very first match?
Um, man, let's see. Very first match. I remember just thinking like, okay, it should be easy. I think I had a pretty easy my very first match because with wrestling, pro wrestling, like where I had actually my debut match as Kid Isaac. Um, a lot of it's just like being kind of just like learning how to do all character, not much in the ring, but all character there to entertain the audience. I had Ricardo Flair to wrestle at my first wrestling pro wrestling match, and basically a Ric Flair just made out of cheese. Is just yeah, and here's Kid Isaac, just kind of like think of your like just a random like jobber in the 80s of like early 90s wrestling, just like almost a little bit 1 2 3 kid, except I didn't win the first time. So I was always losing. But I remember just I trained for about maybe two, almost like over a year in. So I've already been kind of like prepped. I've already been like just thrown into like what as much matches, like training matches as much as possible to kind of like be ready for that moment. And so at that time I already felt ready and I was like, okay, it's go time. Even though we didn't really do much in the ring. It definitely depends on the matches itself, like what the stakes are, what like so because I know like I've seen a lot of first people's matches and the stakes are a little more hard just because it's like this is your first match. You're going like 7 to 10. I only went maybe like 4 minutes in my match.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had it pretty easy. It's a good start. Definitely I would probably recommend the best way to start, but if you can go, you can go and definitely show it. But yeah. Um I just remember just like being like, oh, this is it right here. This is I had a lot of fun. And then now it's like the challenge is even more. How can you make the next match better?
Hmm. That's always the like thing. Like you do one match, you're like, okay, I'm like, did I do that wrong? Did I jump off the rope
Hmm.
wrong? Did I get that kid
Yeah.
in the front row wanting to come here and see me again next time? So is there
Hmm.
any like stipulations that you're like, nah, I can't do that.
Oh, I haven't like said no to anything really just yet. I'm it might be a bad thing. I could be a little bit of a yes man, or I could just agree to like whatever kind of stuff, craziness that either the opponent or whoever the promoter wants. Just like, oh yeah, totally, I'll go and jump off the top into a door somewhere on the other side, or something like that, or I'll go ahead and take some Legos slash thumbtacks, which was my idea in the first place. Um, yeah, no, maybe like like I don't know, a stipulation maybe is just like I definitely don't want to like take anything like too dangerous that is not needed. And that could be a move or that could just be like a death match scenario is like kind of the first thing that popped in my head. It's like, oh yeah, definitely not yet. Well, I say yet.
Yeah. You like
But
the yeah, yeah. You're a
I
fan of
would
the Legos and the tacks. Which one is it more for you, Legos or tacks? Which is one you want to open
um
the bag and drop them on the ring?
oh, okay, yeah, no, it's always the bring the tax in first, and it's like, ooh, okay, something, and then the Legos is like, oh, here we go, and you definitely feel the tax still more. I don't
Mm.
know.
So, if my fans from England are not familiar with your character, when did you get this idea for Kid Isaac? Like, where was it over time, or did you just have this idea one day?
It was somewhat over time actually. Kid Isaac, the name itself didn't mean anything really when I first well when Joey Chaos actually first kind of thought about it. He kind of just like said it out loud when we were just driving a U-Haul together and we were doing like a ring rental and he just said Kid Isaac. Like I like the sound of that, Kid Isaac, and I'm just like, really? Like I'm not sure if that's the name I want to go with. And then he just started kind of rolling with it, just calling me Kid Isaac all the time. But then when I used it for um when I said when I used it for wrestling, pro wrestling, my first match, that's kind of just what stuck with me then and there. But I was just like super baby, like white meat, like generic baby face, like when I first started. And to see, and I was just kind of just being myself, really. And then just kind of figuring out myself even more as I grew into the character was where I started coming up with the layers. Uh, Gentleman Jervis was doing character classes around the time, and he was the one that helped really shaped Kid Isaac. A little bit of the bow tie is kind of as well as is inspired from Pee Wee Herman, since that was definitely one of the influences. Was also kind of like definitely taken from him too, as I was somewhat like his like the idea was like I'm somewhat of his like long lost son or something. But definitely was like the bow tie was kind of just something I just gravitate to, is that this is definitely what something what Kid Isaac would do, is just wear while he was wrestling.
It fits you, man. Like, I've watched some of your matches on YouTube. I can't remember which ones they were, but like, you're good. Your character's perfect. Like, have you ever thought of going like to the East Coast or like overseas to wrestle?
Yeah, I've yet to hit up some people. I think I have maybe some people, but I definitely don't know which one's the right ones to go hit up, or try to just hit up beyond wrestling right away. But
Beyond's good. Beyond's
yeah,
good.
I that's like one I had in
Chaotic
mind.
Beyond, PPW in Slatington, PA. I go
Okay.
there like every once. I'll go. I've been to like 2 or 3 shows. Great crowd. The owner's super nice. His name's
Mm,
Paul Bow.
yeah,
You should definitely hit them up. I went to their anniversary show and the 100th show. The crowd is always lit. They're always loud.
yeah,
They bring a lot of. It's family friendly, so the kids come in and you're. Oh God, Kid Isaac would light
yeah.
up, and it's on Fight TV. All their
Oh,
shows are live
okay.
on Fight TV, so you're on camera, so
Yeah.
people will know you.
Right,
Like,
yeah. No, that is definitely one of the goals, is to get into the East Coast, and I do know WrestleMania is in Philadelphia. WrestleMania weekend is always just like not only like the fans come together in one city, wrestlers are coming together too, and there's also hungry wrestlers are going to come in to like see if they can make connections or get a spot somewhere. Um, we're lucky enough to have it in LA this past year, and I've definitely we had wrestling pro wrestling. I definitely checked out some shows. I was hanging out a lot at the game changer wrestling a lot. So that was definitely like a WrestleMania experience for me to know what I'm gonna expect for Philadelphia. If definitely want to just reach out, see where I can make my East Coast debut. So yeah, Beyond was one. There was one show I've been keeping my eye on, was Pizza Party Pro. If you've heard of that one,
where is that one? That one sounds cool.
I think that one's based out of New Jersey.
Ooh.
That one, like I think they were like haven't weren't doing shows for a while, so I've been kind of just waiting until like maybe I'll hit them up once I start, because I'm still doing a lot of shows here in Vegas. I'm doing some shows in California. Like this past weekend, I was just at San Francisco, and I'm just kind of just like, all right, let me just like build even more reps, build more momentum just a bit, and then once I know I can fulfill those bookings in the East Coast, then I'll start hitting them up, because I don't want to be
Well,
like, oh, I
when you
can't
hit them
make it.
up, definitely tell them you were on a podcast called Dudes at Ringside. It's based
Hmm.
out of Pennsylvania, and because like I love pizza.
Yeah,
The name
yeah,
made me want to have a pie. So,
I love pizza too.
Isaac, do you guys you have any stories from like the road or like at
Hmm.
shows, like during matches or anything?
Nothing specific. I typically I drive most of the time either by myself, or I drive for other people, or I'll get lucky if I'm the one that's in the passenger seat, but I'm usually always the one I'll like to offer to drive. Um yeah, like at least to help out everyone else, because somehow I'm able to last 5 to 6 hours in the car ride by
God,
myself.
coffee and teas must be your best friend that whole
Yeah.
trip.
Well, mostly Reigns or Ghost energy drinks is definitely
Yeah,
my best friend.
yeah.
Um, one I'll say though, I will probably be the one that will oversleep before the road trip and not be able to take uh uh be able to be the one to provide the car ride on that one. uh that's definitely something that's happened. I've driven 8 hours from Vegas to San Francisco, just out of like, hey, like we need two wrestlers, if you can drive them and then you could be on the spot basically. And I was like, I'll do it, yeah. um
So, oh, sorry.
no, you're good.
Keep
Go ahead.
going, and I'll have my question afterwards. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I don't have like, other than like crazy road trips. There's definitely a lot that doesn't really stick out right away. I've definitely had some crazy plane trips too.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, and then where one time when I was doing Seattle, flying out to Seattle, and I was doing a show in Washington for Northwest Pro Wrestling. That's where I lost one of my bags that had my merch and my Nintendo Switch and some a notebook that had a lots of like wrestling notes in there too. And that was definitely a moment where I realized I need to make sure I'm doing this correctly when I'm
Yeah.
traveling.
So when you're traveling, what is like your food to get when you're on the road?
It's either if I'm in a plane, uh, anytime I fly from Vegas, there is a Jamba Juice right there, and I'll go go to Jamba Juice. If it's a car ride, sometimes I'll starve, but either eat home or go see if the guys want to get some gas station snacks. So I'll get a protein cookie and just other like random snacks with the energy drink, or get McDonald's right before we hit the road.
Yeah, it's always good. McDonald's always makes me happy, but then makes me like hours later, my stomach's like, "Grr," like nope,
Yeah,
this wasn't a good idea.
yeah. Yeah. I'll say the best thing to get at night right before you hit the road, because you know those late night drives, there's not much open, and some Jack in the Box, Taco Bell. It's always Taco Bell. It's always Taco Bell every time. When it's us and a bunch of wrestlers in the car.
Do you collect anything, or do you like have anything that like you would say that would be the thing you collect the most?
Not exactly. Much. Oh wait, over here. No, not really too many things I collect, other than maybe just a couple of video games, a couple of DVDs and VHSs. Yeah, no, I just have just maybe stacks of PS2 games, stacks of
Ooh,
we I have somewhat of a Wii collection,
oh, that's
and
cool.
yeah, so I am a bit of a video game collector, just a little bit,
That's
not too
cool.
bad. Um, and just anytime if I have the chance when I'm on the road, I'll stop by whatever retro video game store that's in town and just see what they have, or maybe a thrift store too.
Awesome. Do you do you watch like Cartoon Network or like stuff like that? What if you do? What's your favorite cartoon on there? Retro or old new?
Let's see. Retro, my favorite growing up was Ed and Eddie. Ed and Eddie's just like, even watching, I like
Classic.
to just watch some clips again too. It just makes me laugh every time. And then the newest one was maybe OK KO Let's Be Heroes, which KO, the main character in that show, I kind of got a little bit of like influence from his character in that show, just because he's this little sparky like little kid that's like, wants to be a hero and stuff, and I kind of took a little bit of that motive, like whenever I'm like wrestling, like, uh, I want to be basically like a superhero. Like, that's how I imagine as Kid Isaac, like he imagines himself like this superhero every time he's out there in the ring.
Awesome. Um, Before we go, if my fans want to follow you or want to buy any of your merch, where can they find that?
They can find it on Pro Wrestling Tees. Actually, you look up Kid Isaac on ProWrestlingTees.com, and I have a good selection of shirts that you can check out, as well as Brainbuster Tees is also where I have some different merch up there. You got buttons and stickers and some hoodies as well. Or sometimes I have some merch in my own place where you can if I'm ever like selling on Instagram or something, you can always DM me or on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. This is Kid Isaac is the handle. And yeah, if you're interested in merch, I'm also selling bow ties now. So I have my own bow ties where I kind of just like
You
got
guys look good with a bow tie.
yeah, yeah. You can get your own Kid Isaac bow tie. The color is pink with little eyes on it, and I autograph each one, as well as write a little line where it shows where my neck size is at. So you know that every time you wear it, you see if it basically is the same size as my neck.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, if you're interested, you can always DM me about that, or find me at the Nerds merch table where I should have some bow ties on me. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, you can also find me on YouTube. I'm trying to post more highlights and shorts as well. Basically, if you find me on one place, Twitter or Instagram, you're gonna find a link tree that's gonna just have everything for you.
Awesome. Um, if before we go, if there was any kids watching this episode, and there's a few of them, and they want to become a professional wrestler, what kind of advice would you give them?
Don't. Wait, no, I should not start like that. No, I'm just kidding. Just believe in yourself and have fun, and don't forget the dream. You know, you might grow up and be like, it's not for me, but it doesn't hurt to try, though, at least. And some places you might be able to start like Bodie Young Prodigy, like started like at 10 years old. So there might be some places that you might be lucky, but also stay in school.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kid Isaac, for coming on the podcast. Finally, like last year, we were
Oh yeah,
talking and nothing came out of it, but I'm finally so glad that I got you, and this was so fun.
yeah. This was great. Thank you for having me.
And I would love to have you come back on a future episode, maybe next year when we have more fun and more adventures. And hey, you never know, we may bump into each other at a wrestling show one day, and
Oh, for sure.
we do a funny spot video. I'm Joe Panther III.
And this is Kid Isaac.
And we will catch you in the next one. Good night, everybody.